An area of concern when we're rigging this motor is the battery cables. Now, on a lot of center consoles, the batteries are going to be mounted up in the console, but the motor may only come with a 10 or 12-foot length of battery cables. Clearly not enough to get up to where the batteries are. So it's a common rigging procedure to mount power posts in an area very close to the engine and then run those battery cables from the engine to those posts and then run another set of battery cables from the posts up to the batteries. Now, this is an older two-stroke 150, and the boat is capable of having a 200. So let's say, okay, hey, listen, I'm going to put a 200 four-stroke on there. So two factors here. Four-strokes have higher compression. They are larger engines with camshafts. They need a lot more amperage to get the motor to crank over. So it's going to come with a fairly large set of battery cables that some people would just go and put to the post and say, I'm done. But the question is the existing wire from that post up to the battery adequate for the amount of length and voltage drop to get that motor to crank over? And if they're inadequate, we may have some cranking issues or voltage drop issues. So we need to consult with the manual and find out what is the minimum wire gauge size that we can have for extending the battery cables. Okay, another area is to check for clearance with the steering. A lot of people, when they're repowering a boat, buy a transom toughener, or they fabricate a aluminum plate to go on the transom to help, spread the load of maybe the heavier engine going on an older boat. They're worried about the transom possibly being a little weak. Typically not a problem with this type of steering system, this mechanical cable type steering. The motor can tilt up without hitting or having any issues. But when we have hydraulic systems, we have that cylinder laying out here. You've got to remember that as we tilt up the motor, what's going to happen is this cylinder is going to move forward too. And what happens a lot of times is that the cylinder comes down and actually hits that plate. And since the cylinder can't move anymore and the motor's being tilted up hydraulic, a lot of times it starts tweaking the brackets, especially the tiller arm that's underneath. And in extreme cases, the tiller arm can be bent.